time for a quick tour of all of my goldfish tanks. Let's get right into it. First off, the rack. One of the top 5 questions I get asked is where I got this rack. Sadly, I got it on OfferUp. It's welded square tube steel, so you probably can't buy it for yourself. Let's start off on the bottom left here. This is the guppy and shrimp tank. This is my only aquarium with no goldfish in it. I'm basically trying to start colonies of the guppies and shrimp just to have some variety, something different to look at. Next up is the left middle. This is the planted goldfish tank. The orange oranda is bagel and the brownish pom-pom is unnamed so far. Another one of my top questions is what is that filter? That is a Quan V moving media filter. It's pretty cheap on Amazon. And I actually have pretty good success keeping these plants alive with the goldfish. Moving on to our top left tank, we have basically a general sick tank, quarantine tank. This is Breadstick. She's not doing super great. She's got some severe swim bladder problems, but she's still eating and has no visible ailments. So I'm just keeping an eye on her. She's been like this for several weeks already. So we'll see if she improves. As long as she's still eating and looks fine, I'll keep her in here. Moving on to the top right tank, the Be Happy tank. This is actually my newest goldfish, that big white Ryukin. I named him or her Snowball. When I hear the name Snowball, I always think of like a grimy old white cat. And I don't know why, but that fits. I really like Snowball, and I really like this LED sign behind the tank. I just put it there this week, and it looks great. I kind of want another one that says West Coast Goldies behind the top left tank, so I'll have to see about that. Moving right along to the middle right tank, this is the attempted carpet algae tank. There is green mixed in with the brown algae, it's just brown algae is still outcompeting the green, so I'm trying to work on that. There are 4 oranda goldfish in here. The large one's name is Blubbles, the other 3 are unnamed because I can't really tell them apart yet. Oh, an important piece of information I forgot to say, all these tanks on this rack are 40-gallon breeders. Moving along to the bottom right tank. This is a general breeding tank. The black Ranchu is named Sesame. The brownish bronze one is unnamed. You can see Sesame's tail fins are all torn up, and that's likely from the male chasing her earlier in the morning, nipping at the fins. Don't worry, Sesame's been through worse, and it will grow back. So they are displaying breeding behavior, but there's been no eggs in the tank, so that's a little confusing. I'm just keeping a close eye on them, trying to make sure Sesame doesn't get beat up too much. And that's pretty much it for the rack. I have pothos and some other plants growing out of the tanks. I want them to grow down the 3 pillars to cover them, kind of make it a more immersive view. I also have a little fan I built into my skirt cover here to make sure there's plenty of airflow underneath and behind the rack so that any drips or anything dry up quick. We also have on the opposite end of the room my goldfish book collection. I have not read them all yet. Working my way through. It's going to take a while. I thought about posting reviews for the books, but I'm just not qualified for it. Not yet anyways. Then we got out this sliding glass door. If I open these blinds here, this is where my pond is. Oh, and my little mangrove plant in the jar here. But let's go outside. My pond consists of 3 100-gallon tanks. There are only these 5 goldfish in here right now. The large one there is Mrs. Tomato, and on the far left is Fishery Bezos. The other 3 fantails are unnamed. Just recently took the sand out of this main tank to try to keep down on maintenance. I got this 100-gallon acrylic for free about a year ago on OfferUp. And these 2 other black tanks are galvanized stock tanks that I covered with Flex Seal. Flex Seal is non-toxic when cured. I have a water celery plant in there and a water hawthorn and a few other little plants. And this right here leads to my downspout filter. I have some crushed coral in there to buffer the water and a couple sponges to filter anything from the downspout out. I live here in the Pacific Northwest, so we get a lot of rain, and I didn't want that rain to go to waste. So the goldfish get a lot of clean water. I also have here for the summertime a UV filter and my inline heater for the wintertime. It just takes the edge off. I don't want it to get too cold for them. For the nighttime, I just have a couple LED strips hooked up to my little remote here. So if I click this, it turns on the lights, and it also turns on a little light and a water pump over in this middle tank to just make some circulation. And in the summertime, I put my hexagon acrylic tank on those 2 blocks and fill it up with water, and it makes a really cool view of the fish in the summertime. That is basically the full tour of everything I got going on right now. As far as goals, I'd like to start breeding some fish, and I also want each of these racks to kind of have a different aesthetic. And I think I'm making my way there. If you enjoyed this tour, go ahead and leave a like, and please share my channel with anyone you think would like it.